And then this is what it looks like when you fold over the top. And all you've done is just, that's the bag, and you just fold it over. So now we want to make our handle that goes around here. This is just going to be a chain stitch. You can do a row of single crochet if you wanted it to be thicker, and you're going to need to make 2 lots of chains. Now I'm going to make the chain with 2 lots of yarn together, just so it's a bit thicker, because this is going to be the handle of the bag, and I think it would look nicer if it was a bit thicker. So what we want to do is just make a chain twice as long as what we want our handle length to be, because it needs to get folded in half. So I'll just keep chaining and see how far I get. So I've made my chain just under 1 metre or a yard long, and I'm going to start to thread it through the bottom of this the valance on the cradle. So you can put it through the bottom one. I'm actually going to put it through the second last row. So just thread it in and out of these holes you've got created by your stitches, and then we'll catch up. And when you thread your chain in, you're going to lay your bag flat, and you're going to thread it, so lay this part flat too if you can, and you're going to start threading it from one end because you want it to go up, back around, and then your handles are going to come out the side here. So start threading from this end. So after you've threaded it in, just pull it tight and then see if your handle's long enough for the bag. I think that's perfect for what I need it for. So let's just fix it up so it looks like, yep. So you've still got a little bit hanging out there, but that's fine because they can tuck it underneath if they want. I mean, kids are kids, they're not really going to care, are they? Starting to look cute already, guys. Now let's do a chain exactly the same for the other side. And this time we're going to thread it from this end. Sorry guys, we're going to thread it from this end because we want a handle on the other side of the bag, don't we? So just repeat that step that we just did, except just thread it in from the other side. So now we have our bag, and I've got the handles, and I just tied the ends of the chain together, and I'm actually going to make a flower to add on there. I'm going to sew it on with that part. Just, you can make a pom-pom or a flower, anything you really want to add on to the sides there. Don't have to, of course it's up to you. You're the designer. So let's just open up our bag and turn it into our half-finished cradle. There we go, it's sitting up nicely there, and once that drawstring's gone in, it's making the cradle sit up excellent. So now we need to start on the hood part of the cradle, and we are going to probably, not halfway, just a little bit back from halfway. So you're going to fold your bag in half, make sure it's even, and then sort of find the halfway point, and I'm thinking sort of a little bit more or a little bit less than halfway across is where the hood should be, because I don't think it's like the hood is halfway. I'm not really sure. I've never seen a cradle for a long time, but you guys can put it wherever you want. But so wherever you want to put it, fold it together like that, and then maybe put a stitch marker at the back, stitch marker at the front, and then we're going to work our way around between those stitch markers. So I've got my stitch markers in place at the front and the back of our work. So now we're going to attach our yarn in here and work our way around. So looking at our work here, we are going to use the loops. So let's just look at the work here. See how we've got some loops at the back? If you don't, just work into the stitch like that, doesn't really matter. So we want to attach our yarn. This is probably a pretty good project to use up some scraps that you've got. You can put in as many colours as you like. So I'm just attaching the yarn there. And then I'm just going to single crochet, or you can use a half double crochet if you like. Going into the loops here. Like I said, if you don't have any loops there, just work into a stitch there. Let me just see if this makes any difference to the other side of the work when you open up your bag. No, you can't even see it. So just work into where you want to. And work all the way around until we get to our other stitch marker. So there you go, you can see I've worked a row around where the stitch markers are. So then we are going to chain one and turn our work. And this part's up to you. You can go into both loops, you can go into the back loops. I'm just going to go into both loops because it's easier. Working a single crochet, go back all the way around to the other end. So now we are back around, and you're going to single crochet down into not the stitch here, but the stitch down in there. So back to where you very first added that row of single crochet. We're going to chain one, and we're going to spin back around, and we're going to work one row until we get back to the other end. So back to the other end, and we want to work down here. Don't work into the one loop. I find that stretches it right out there. See if you can grab two loops from somewhere and then just work a single crochet into there. We're going to chain one, and we're going to go back the other way. We want to do this each time we are single crocheting back down into that same stitch there, which should make the hood part of our crib start to curve over, and it should be all secured down into that same stitch. So work about, what have we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, I think it is. 1, 2, 3 or 4 rows, I can't really tell. Yeah, 4 rows, sorry. You want to work about 6 rows and then stop, and we'll see where we are. So the hood part's going to be a little bit of trial and error depending on how big you've made yours. You want to make a few rows, and then we want to put in a decrease row because we want it to sort of curve up and over. So from now on we don't want to go back down to that same stitch, we'll just go to the end of the row, chain one, go back around. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. I'm going to put in a row of decrease and then do probably another 5 rows and then another row of decrease, and that should basically make the hood part to my crib. So you kind of got to gauge it how big you need it. So mine's probably going to be about that high, that's probably just about halfway, so I need to put in a row of decrease. And for my row of decrease I'm going to chain one at the end. I'm going to spin it around Still working under both loops. I'm going to work about 2 stitches and then I'm going to do a decrease. So I'm going to go into the stitch, so don't pull through, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop through and hook, and then pull through all 3. Work another 2 normal single crochets and then go into the next, and we want to do a decrease in there. 2 normal in the next, and then a decrease. Just repeat that all the way around. So if you get to the end and you haven't got enough stitches that's going to be even, don't worry about it, doesn't matter. This is why crochet is good, because this sort of thing you're not really going to notice it. So as you can see, it started to curve inways because we've decreased our stitches. So it's made it got smaller on there and it's made it curve in. So we want to add, probably, I might change my mind, I'm actually going to add 2 more rows, then do a row of increase. Sorry, a row of decrease. And then do a couple of more rows and then a row of decrease again. As you can tell, making up as I go along. I don't have a pattern to follow. Just saw one online and thought that is so cute and we've got to make one and share it with you guys. So I am making this as I go and filming it as I go. So let's add 2 more rows of normal and then a row of decrease. So I've just put in my rows of, just my 2 rows of normal, and now I'm going to work a decrease row. So depending on how big you've made yours is sort of how it's going to work. If it's starting to get too baggy up the top here, you need to do a row of decrease to bring it in ways, in more. And I think everybody knows what a hood looks like on a bassinet or a cradle or a crib. So yeah, that's what you're trying to imitate on the top there. So I'm going to do a row of decrease, and then a couple of rows of normal, and then a row of decrease, and that should bring me up to where my hood should go. And don't panic if here's not too straight. I think I've actually missed a stitch there, not to worry, because we're actually going to crochet up that and it will make it straight and look beautiful. So let's put in a row of decrease, and then a couple of rows of normal and another row of decrease, and you're going to decrease exactly the way we did before. If you find that your the hood on your crib isn't curving over quick enough, put in another row of decrease. You should be able to judge by looking at it. So I've only got a few more rows to go. I'm up to, I've just put in my row of normal, and from now on I'm actually just going to do 1 normal, 1 decrease, 1 normal until it curves right over, and we should be just about ready to put our little borders on.